Hello, my name is Sammy, and I'm a grade 8 student. My story began almost a year and a half ago. My parents got married at a young age, and they were madly in love with each other. But my mom had me 6 years after their marriage. Their financial status wasn't that great when they got married, so they decided to wait for some time before having a baby. My mom died right after I was born, which was absolutely devastating for my dad. He spent most of his time working hard to look after me, and to be able to afford to pay for a nanny for me. He used to tell me often that I reminded him of Mom, and that I looked so similar to her, and that he loved me twice as much because of that. I spent most of my life alone. I had no brothers or sisters, no mom, and my dad was barely around to spend time with me. It was really boring. So, I decided I had to do something about the boredom, and it just so happens that I found a very fun way to do that. I won't lie to you, I tried so many different activities and hobbies, like painting, playing music, dancing, and reading, but none of them really caught my attention. Plus, I wasn't very talented, to be honest, so none of them really worked out for me. This led me to try and learn other things that looked more fun and enjoyable. I dabbled in cookery, various ball games, video games. I even tried to have a pet. Nothing worked. Everything seemed fun at first, but before long, I'd find these activities pretty dull. The situation kept on repeating, until one day, when I discovered my new talent. And, well, it was a little weird. One day, on my way back from school, I was passing by the grocery store when I suddenly started to crave some of the sweets that were neatly lined up on the shelves. Those tasty chocolate bars and sugary snacks were calling my name. So I thought to myself, why don't I buy some? Once I got that craving, there was no one that could come between me and all that sugar. I pushed the store's glass door open and went in. I walked by dozens of shelves until I finally reached the back of the store where they keep all the sweets. I grabbed a chocolate bar and began to read the ingredients to see if it contained any pistachio. I'm allergic to it. But while reading the ingredients, I suddenly heard a loud noise. It startled me for a moment. And, without even realizing, I put the chocolate bar under my coat. I have no idea why I did it at the time, but I guess I wasn't thinking straight because of the loud noise I'd heard. I looked around me and there was no one around. It turned out that the sound that I'd heard was nothing more than one of the employees dropping some kind of box. I was still hiding the chocolate bar under my coat when I reached the front of the store, and by then, I had this weird idea. What if I just took the chocolate bar without actually paying for it? I didn't have much money in my pocket, and I couldn't ask my dad for more money. I'd already asked him for too much that week. So, saving a little money didn't sound like such a bad idea, actually. I looked at the corner of the store and the surrounding walls to see if there were any security cameras. I walked towards the exit door, but then an employee called out to me, "Hey, miss!" I looked at him in terror, and I thought to myself, it's over. I've been caught. He walked toward me calmly and asked me if I needed help finding anything, since I was walking out of the store empty-handed. I thanked him, wished him a nice day, and walked out of the store with my heart banging inside of my chest. Who knew stealing could be that easy? When I came out of the store, I walked across the street and thought about what I had just done. It had been pretty scary, but seeing as it was over, and I hadn't been caught, it suddenly seemed kind of fun and thrilling. Adrenaline was pumping through my body. I sat on a nearby bench and took the chocolate bar out of my coat. I started to remove its cover with a weird smile on my face and took a bite. It was the most delicious thing I had ever tasted. I returned home full of pride at what I'd done, and the feeling stayed with me for a while. Even though I knew it was wrong to steal, I figured this time it was okay, because it was just a bar of chocolate, and I hadn't hurt anyone. By the next day, the thrill of it all had gone, and once again, I was drowning in boredom. A few days later, I was in the library studying math, which I seriously hated. A guy from my class was sitting right next to me. He looked like he was studying hard, unlike me, who had a million thoughts whirling around in my head. I was distracted by everything. The unending shelves that were full of books, the fat librarian who was rearranging books, even the stuff that was on the table that belonged to the guy next to me. You name it, I was thinking about it. The boys' belongings were scattered across the table. It was an absolute mess. pencils and pens of different colors and sizes, his keychain, and an iPod with bright blue earphones attached to it. The earphones definitely looked very appealing, and I didn't have any. I could almost bet that listening to music through such amazing earphones would make the music quality sound like something out of this world. Besides, they were just earphones nonetheless. Nothing would happen to the guy if I just took them. I mean, he wouldn't die or something because he'd lost his earphones, right? I tried to let go of the idea and to concentrate as much as possible on what I was reading at the time, but I couldn't. All that I could think about was my desire to try those amazing earphones. A few minutes later, the boy got up and went outside, probably to the bathroom. I took my chance and managed to put the earphones into my bag without anyone noticing. I'll use them for a little while and return them afterwards, I said to myself, to justify what I'd just done. But deep inside, I knew that there was no chance I was going to return them. The boy came back, maybe a couple of minutes later, but he didn't notice that his earphones were missing. I smiled. This was too easy. I tried to act normal for the next few minutes, and then I walked out of the library quietly, trying not to draw any attention to myself.